So the victims in DR Congo have to take baking classes for a $250 compensation because the World Health Organization staff raped them. Yes, this is not an isolated incident. I've been saying for years. It's part of the reason I don't understand why our nursing and medical profession is aligned with the World Health Organization. What they've done in the world, especially in poor countries, is horrific. But then when you look at what the medical and nursing profession are focusing on, they're not focusing on the true crises, and they're going along with everything that the World Health Organization says. And the World Health Organization is just a criminal organization. Do you realize they have sovereignty, and yet you can't go after them in any criminal way? But they want to take away everybody's sovereignty through their that new pandemic treaty, which I'll do another video about that regarding what was on RFK's, Robert Kennedy Jr.'s, his Children's Health Defense Fund. There's an article on there that was back in 2021 about that treaty that now I believe is in place or will be soon, where they will be dictating. So just what baffles me about all of this is why it is that, like, I've had trouble just finding a job in the past couple months, and ever since American Nurses Association blocked me on Twitter. Yeah, the very profession that sets the standard of care blocks me, and I'm a nurse. Because I stood up to, why aren't you focusing on this? Why are you doing why are you pushing racist agendas? Why all of it, everything that they are doing right now shows that they outright say they're aligned with the World Health Organization. This is a criminal organization. They are. So the World Health Organization will pay $250 to each woman in Congo that was sexually assaulted by its staff during the Ebola outbreak. The WHO investigated itself over claims that its staff sexually abused or exploited men and women during a mission to Congo during an Ebola outbreak between 2018 and 2020. They admit they did it and are paying out this amount. They are diplomatically immune, so no other consequences. This is the group that wants global power under pandemic treaty. So they said to avoid the money appearing to be reparations for criminal behavior, the report revealed that women were forced into career training, women forced into sexual relationships with WHO workers in exchange for jobs during the Ebola outbreak in the country that began in 2018, told the AP that the United Nations agency did offer the $250, but only if they took baking classes. So they raped these women. Some women that had never had sex before, women that became pregnant and then were outcasted by their family. And all poor people. And yet the very organizations in this country, the medical and nursing, align with this garbage. Swear to God, like, how hard is it just to do the right thing? The WHO, like many UN agencies, is struggling to address rampant rape and sexual assault by its workers in some of the world's most poverty-stricken areas. Following the revelation of at least dozens of cases of women and girls forced into sex by WHO employees in the Congo, Tedros, who's the director of WHO, promised a profound transformation. So this is what gets me to, is the very people that don't seem to know how to operate in a, because this is not isolated. This is the history of the UN and the WHO. I've said this for years now. but the very people that are involved in the criminal activity, okay, or have known that their agency has been involved over and over and over and over again doing this in poor countries, those are not the people that should be dictating health care. Okay, they shouldn't. That's what gets me. It's like we're going to come to a racial reckoning, okay, like the medical and nursing profession did in 2020, and yet then they want to dictate to everybody what health equity looks like, or what, being equal. They're not even about being equal. They're about equity. They're about social justice. The very people that are aligned with criminal organizations. It just baffles me completely. The original allegation surfaced in 2020 in a report co-authored by the news agencies Reuters and the New Humanitarian. Women said they were plied with drinks, others ambushed in offices and hospitals, some locked in rooms by men who promised jobs or threatened to fire them if they did not comply. This is a quote from one woman. "My life became so bleak. This was my first time to be with a man like this. In this case, an old man. I felt awful." In October, the director of the WHO Office for the Prevention and Response for Sexual Misconduct published a report on the situation in Congo, acknowledging a dramatic increase in the number of women and girls alleging sexual abuse by its workers. This would explain why the medical and nursing profession at the top didn't want to focus on the true pandemic, which was the trafficking of children. How much involvement, you block me, and I'm just a psych nurse for 12 years, right? But you block me from your Twitter account. It's like, so how far deep are they involved? Because it seems to me, if there's any profession on the planet that should be about focusing on the true crises at hand, and it is not about race. Race is not the crisis. But what nursing should be above any other profession is about doing the right thing. And yet I stand up and speak up trying to do the right thing. And believe me, I'm not perfect, but I'm just saying that a lot of this stuff is a no-brainer, and yet then I'm the one that is, blocked from American Nurses Association, the very people that Magnet is through and all of that, Magnet of nursing. And if you think this doesn't affect your hospital, yeah, it does. Magnet is all tied to this. The very people where you go to your Magnet meetings in your hospital, and you do these things because Magnet says this is best practices. Those are the people that have aligned with people that have raped women and children. Two women confirmed to the news agency that they had taken baking classes to receive their sexual abuse damages. One woman laminated the really insufficient $250 she received after classes in baking and tailoring, but noted she needed the money as she had a 5-year-old, the daughter of a WHO rapist, and she had to feed her. That's the thing, is that in these poor countries, these people are desperate. This is the reason the science does all this experimentation in the Congo and other poverty-stricken areas in the world is because it's easy to get those people to be test subjects for some money because they're desperate for money to eat. And yet this is the same organization with the United Nations who they all have this history. This is not new. It's embedded in the organization. It's an infection, which is why Trump pulled us out of the World Health Organization. They don't seem to know how to do the right thing. So I just wonder how tied to all this corruption is the medical and nursing profession in this country. Because as long as they want to align with garbage like this, well then you're not going to have best practices, and certainly you won't have good outcomes.